I think John Muir would be pretty proud of this one. Our friends Rod and Angie brought us a stack of this teak. So they live up in Washington, we're down in the desert, and we can't really find this. Our Lowe's doesn't have a whole lot of this stuff. So one thing to keep in mind, guys, is that what you have access to is going to depend really on where you're at. We don't have a whole lot of teak in our area. So they brought us down a whole stack of it, and every time they do, we try to think of something special to make with it. So for today, I'm gonna use one of these rounds right here. I'm gonna use our 1-inch fatty font and the Ryan's Place stencil, and I'm gonna carve one of my favorite quotes by John Muir, or Muir, however you say it. I'm pretty excited to see how it turns out. Don't forget, guys, you can find all this stuff on the website, makeawoodsign.com. Let's get started. So I had the idea of how I wanted this sign to look in my mind, but I wasn't sure how I was going to make the line for my letters. At first I thought I could use a little combination square and just follow along the edge of the board. That didn't work, not at all. So I had to freehand it. Now the tricky part of this was getting it perfectly symmetrical, and it actually turned out better than I thought it would, but it was off a little bit. I think I was off like maybe 1/8 of an inch. But you can't really tell once the sign was carved. Now, Dad's good at this. He's had a lot more practice than I have, but I wanted to do it because I got to learn sometime, right? And it turned out pretty good. One thing that was important to me is getting the first line at the top. So I didn't want it to say the mountains are, and then the bottom says calling, and I must go. I wanted to make sure to keep that separation correct. Luckily, it turned out plenty big enough, and I was able to actually get that line, the T on the and the G on calling, pretty even. And here's a little trick. If you are carving around, you want to keep the lines straight as far as the grain goes, because you can see the grain lines, you can see where the boards were put together. If those are off center a little bit, it looks kind of funky. So this turned out really good, and it wasn't near as hard to lay out as I thought it would be. I started off with the 60-degree bit at 3/16 of an inch deep. Now normally I start off with the fine detail using the carving liner, but for me, carving 1-inch inset is probably the thing I'm the worst at, so I was kind of nervous to do this. Now, that's also the reason I chose the fatty font instead of Clarendon, because fatty font is so much easier to carve. There's no straight line, well, there's straight lines, but there's no really small straight lines like serifs. There's no sharp points. It just carves way easier. So if you are struggling with carving small inset letters, I would suggest, if you can, go with fatty font. Way easier. Now, teak is a hard board, and you'll notice that there's actually like fibers kind of coming up as I carve. At first I thought it was like a burring, but it's actually just the grain of the board, because there's plenty of flute left on this bit. It's not causing that burring. That's the board itself. And here's another little thing. I was carving too slow to begin with. There's actually some burning on here. I was trying to be a little bit too picky, trying to be a little bit too anal about how these are looking, and I was going too slow, and that was causing a lot of burning. One thing I found out, actually probably pretty quick here on the carving itself, is that instead of just brushing the sawdust with my hand, I started using the little stiff bristle brush with each letter. You can see that the sawdust is collecting, and it's making it hard to see my lines along with all those fibers. So I started using the stiff bristle brush to brush that stuff out with each letter, and it actually helped quite a bit as far as being able to see my line. Also, it's worth noting that right now the carving is going 4 times speed. So I was obviously carving fairly slow on this hard wood. Next, I switched to the carving liner at 1/8 of an inch deep. Now, I apologize that it's out of focus right here. We just didn't see it when we were filming. But the only thing I really needed the carving liner for on this is the antlers and then the legs of the deer. So I decided just to do the whole deer with a carving liner, and then I'll go back around with a profile bit to widen those lines up a little bit. But make sure, if you're using this bit, you only go 1/8 of an inch deep at a pass, and especially in hardwood. It's a great bit, but it's very fine tipped and it's only single flute. So if you're trying to carve at 3/16 or even deeper in hardwood, you definitely take a risk of breaking that tip off. Now that that's done, I switched to the profile bit at 3/16 of an inch deep. Most of the lines in this stencil are pretty wide, except for like the trees and the leaves and all that stuff. So I probably could have gone at 1/4 of an inch deep and not had to go back and drop the bit. But especially when it comes to hardwood, it's a good idea to start shallow, because the deeper your bit is, then the more drag you're going to have on it. And it's just a little bit harder to keep straight lines. So it actually ends up saving you time going shallow at first and then coming back and going deeper. Now this stencil is fairly detailed, but one thing to keep in mind is that, especially when you're doing trees, you do not have to follow the lines exactly. You'll see some of my lines are not exactly how the stencil is. The main thing is you just want it to look like a group of trees. So like the little areas in between the two trees, the black areas, I'm going to carve around those, but I'm going to space them out a little bit. That way they don't chip out when I'm sanding or brushing out like that. And then as far as the leaves of the tree, or I guess these are pine trees, so the needles of the tree, you're just kind of making them jagged. You don't have to follow each line exactly. You have a lot more wiggle room when it comes to artwork than you do when it comes to letters and numbers. Simply because in the saying that I have on here, there's like 3 A's. If all 3 of them look different, that's going to look weird. So you got to be a lot more picky about carving your letters perfect than you do your artwork. Now that all the hard stuff is done, I drop that same profile bit down to 1/4 of an inch deep, and I'm going to go around everything again to widen up those lines. So next I switched to the 90-degree bit at 3/16 of an inch deep. And I just went in and I took out all of the wood inside the stencil. For this one, I was kind of considering doing a flat background, but I'm glad I went with a texture. I just think it looks better. There are certain things a flat background looks better, but I don't think this is one of them. And finally, for the edge, I used our 45-degree chamfer bit, and I put a deep chamfer on this thing. I should have gone around twice. You can see it kind of started to run on me a little bit. I took too much of a bite at one time and actually had a little bit of tear out I had to sand off. So I should have gone around once, halfway, and then gone around again to go the full depth. Then I brushed the crap out of this thing. So brushing it out is important, but especially with the small lines in the mountains and everything on this board, all those fibers are in there. So you want to make sure that if you're carving teak or a fibrous board like this, brush this thing out really good. With teak, I wasn't worried about any bleeding. We didn't have any of that issue on any of the other teak we sprayed. So I did overspray on this just a little bit to get in all those small lines. Another tip is spray with different angles. Spray from the top, from the bottom. Make sure you get as much black in there as you can. Then I used a 60 grit disc on the disc sander and a 120 grit disc on the random orbital. Make sure that you spray off the sawdust in between those sanding processes, otherwise you could end up grinding some of that dark sawdust back into the wood, and that just looks like crap. I ended up putting about 7 coats of clear on this thing before I did the B-roll you're about to see. This teak soaked in that clear really bad. So it took a little bit to get the buildup that I wanted on it. But my gosh, it looks amazing. All right, guys, here it is. So normally when we carve something, we either give them away or we carve it for somebody or whatever, but I think I'm gonna keep this one. I love how this looks. This teak is beautiful. It did carve hard, but man, it just looks great, especially when there's a really nice finish on it. Thank you again to Rod and Angie for bringing this teak to us. We're going to use it for all kinds of stuff. So, as always, guys, you can find everything on the website, makeawoodsign.com. If you got any questions, you can shoot me an email, ryan@makeawoodsign.com, and we'll see you guys on the next one.